Stellified, Jimmy Beam and Bly, reaching highest where we reach, yo, as high as to the stars. Beats in the villain Jeep, vibrating other cars. Whose world is this? Yo, we say the world is ours. So we grow beards, no fear, photos so clear. Take another shot, so to speak, yeah, more beer. BB worldwide with a fist to the sky. Cheers, cheers, New Year's, dope rhyme, good vibes. My crew speaks power, Chi-Town bleeds power. Knowledge, wisdom, and truth in the final hour. Respect, loyalty, family, charity speaks power. Here the villain's brotherhood speaks honor. Forwards and onwards, stay villain to the end. I will never shave again because my beard is not a trend. I represent excellence, leadership, and never follow. I'm a BBC member, yo, Lieutenant of Chicago.
One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. It's BV, it's BV, BV, it's BV, it's BV, it's BV, it's BV, it's BV. Yo, all I see.
Hello and welcome, guys. Happy Friday night and welcome to the Heart of a Villain, the podcast devoted to the bearded villains' worldwide brotherhood and the lives they are changing all over the world. That's right. I said, welcome to the Heart of a Villain. This is the live stream here on Friday night over on YouTube if you're there. That is, well, you're there, so you don't need the address for it. If you're listening later on the regular old podcast platform method, it is the heart of a villain.simplecast.com. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I do appreciate you so much. And welcome. Welcome. It is a Friday night. I think if you're like me and you attended the big event that was in Southern Indiana this past weekend, you're still trying to decompress a little bit, right? It's been a crazy and somewhat relaxing weekend, or week. But man, I want to start off. Well, first of all, again, this is episode 52. And we've got all sorts of different things that I have planned. I want to try and do here in the next several weeks. Some cool ideas, some trial by error ideas, some different things that we're going to be trying here with the podcast, with the live stream, with the audio form. So I hope you guys are in for a ride because this is gonna be fun for me. Adjust my audio levels here, make sure I'm okay. Hopefully everybody out there can hear me just fine. So yeah, episode 52. One of the really cool things that we're going to do today is I'm going to incorporate a new feature within this live streaming software that I have not done before. Now, those of you who have been watching since episode 25 of the live streams, since we've done episode 25, since we started the live streams, you'll know that just about every one of with the exception of bringing in a few phone calls, just about every one of the interviews that we've done here on the live stream have been pre-recorded. So, and the reason for that is because, well, some people aren't comfortable doing an actual truly live interview. And other reasons behind that are because of technology. I despise Skype, but I've been stuck with Skype because it works really well. Well, it's integrated into this program, this live streaming software that I use. And so everybody can pretty much get it. And so it works. You can use it on your phone. You can use it in a variety of areas. But here's the really cool stuff. This software just came up with an amazing add-on they've been working on for several months. And now they have their own internal version of Skype where I can bring in people and have them sitting in a green room. My guest is sitting in a green room right now, waiting for me to bring him in here. And so it's really exciting. Hopefully everything goes really well. The software is in beta right now. So we're just trying things out and seeing if they work. So hopefully everything's going to go just perfect. Let's hope for the best. But guys, before I bring in my interview guest, and I'll touch on this real quick. One of the things that I wanted to do was get a perspective of a brother or two or three or however many I could gather in short order, unfortunately. But I wanted to get some perspective after this really cool meet that we had in Southern Indiana. this past weekend, Battle of the Beards 2020. And I wanted to get some perspective of some people whose first multi-chapter event this was. So I wanted to get, bring in some people. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get as many people as I wanted to, but I've got a good guest. He's going to give us some cool stuff. And I'm really excited. This dude is a solid dude, and I'll get into him in just a second here. I'm going to tease it for just a second. First, I want to say hello to everybody who's in the house right now, watching us live. Caveman, how you doing? Looking good for second place. Actually, I was third place. So I don't know about that. You're looking good for first place. You always seem to beat me out. Even when I don't even place, you place first. So it is what it is, buddy. Looking good for third place for me anyway. Will pulled in that second place. Rob, of course, he's here. He was a little late today. We got us all worried. Jess is in the house. Ken, how you doing, buddy? Of course, we got Tim. I think I saw Gus in here. Jay, we see Jay. I wonder if he's watching Side by Side with Sharissa tonight, and they're not on separate channels. I don't know. We'll see. Sean's in the house, and AA Ron. AA Ron beat out Rob tonight to be the first one to make the comment. So to comment in the live room before things got started. And of course, now Sharissa's in the house. Okay, guys. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to our brothers, the Bearded Villains. Well, let's do this official. Let's do this right way here. And let's bring in this. Guys, the Bearded Villains of Southern Indiana absolutely killed it last weekend. I mean to tell you, you've probably seen some videos, but you've probably undoubtedly seen some photos floating around on Facebook, on Instagram, all over the place. Brothers had a great time. There were, I believe, 19 different chapters represented from all over the country. It was such a cool thing to see, get to see our brothers again. But the Bearded Villains of Southern Indiana, man, they were gracious hosts. They did a great job. They were organized. Everything flew off just absolutely perfectly. I think, at least, whether if there were mistakes or there were oopses that happened, they weren't noticeable to any of us. So Bearded Villains Southern Indiana, man, you guys, some really cool stuff. Let's give some credit, man. Let's give some credit. Dance. So those guys, 14, this is the amount now. $14,000 was raised for the Gresham House. $14,000, guys. $14,000 raised for the Gresham House from this past weekend's activities down at the Battle of the Beards. I've been corrected now. Caveman says it was 20. Okay, so it was probably 19 plus them. But in any event, 20 chapters, guys. So cool to see. Congratulations, and thank you so much to the Bearded Villains of Southern Indiana for being such gracious hosts, so amazing hosts, and doing such a great job in an event that started out just 3 years ago, rather small in some field in Southern Indiana. And in 3 years, it has grown into this event that people just want to come to. It falls perfectly on the calendar, and people actually put it on their calendar now as not a if I'll get to it if I can event. This is an event that guys want to get to, and they get it on their calendar now. And in 3 years' time, these guys have just done amazing work. So again, congratulations to you guys, Bearded Villains, Southern Indiana. Can't say enough about you, man. So thank you so much for a great weekend. $14,000. The Gresham House is going to benefit just amazingly from that. So brotherhood at its finest right there, guys. Great job. Okay, so here's the deal. Warm up your hands, Brian. Warm up your hands. Okay. Magic fingers, magic fingers. Fingers crossed. We're going to do all the throw the salt over the shoulder, everything like that, hoping that this feature works just fine. We're going to bring in a brother from Bearded Villains of Michigan, Bearded Villains, Michigan, who I first met when he came to my house. But yeah, along with several of his other brothers earlier this year. But man, this was his first multi-chapter meet, a big old beard competition, an amazing time. I'm going to bring him in here now. Let's see through the miracle of technology if this works out okay. I'm going to bring him in. Timbo Slice, are you there?
I am here, BP. What's up, brother?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man.
Oh,
Finally off worker for the weekend.
Yeah, so good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much for taking some time out. As I'm talking to you here with this new feature, I love it because now I only have one image in front of me. With Skype, I had like 4 images that I had to try and track, and I had to tell my interview guests, don't look at this camera angle. I'm looking at you through this. So you're actually seeing, and this is the greatest thing about it. You're seeing what I'm seeing. So
yeah, exactly.
You can actually follow along with the chat and everything now.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that I'm all crooked on my camera, so I'm able to shift my camera a little bit to make myself look, pretty.
Yeah, make yourself presentable. I love it. I love this.
It's nice. I like it.
This is working out really well. Okay, so Timbo Slice, what is your IG handle so everybody knows who you are, how to find you?
My IG handle is Tim_Grizz, GRIZZ.
Okay, so I just want to take a step back a little bit. I know I mentioned here a few minutes ago that one of the things I wanted to do was discuss experiences, your first big meet, and get kind of so we can share what it's like for people that weren't able to go, and people that have never been to a multi-chapter meet before. I think it would be really cool to share those experiences, share what the emotions, all the different crazy feelings that you had and the different things that you saw, because this has been a really strange year, and the Bearded Villains has grown as a brotherhood all over the world, but not everybody's been able to experience, that first meet yet. And so I thought it'd be a great time coming right off of such a great meet that the Bearded Villains Southern Indiana hosted for us. I want to talk a little bit about that. But first, let's backtrack a little bit and tell us a little bit about your story, why you found the Bearded Villains, and let's just go with that.
Well, I'm a married family man. To kind of touch a little bit on the event in Southern Indiana, I had my girls with me. They competed in the beard competition. But I'm a big family man. I've got a history in law enforcement, firefighting, EMT. I spent years as a 911 operator. And honestly, what brought me to Bearded Villains is me and my wife. We have a group of friends that are my friends, a group of friends that are her friends. But at least the way that I looked at it is I wanted a group of people that were our friends, people that we were together and we're meeting for the first time and hanging out with and having a good time, stuff that we could do with our family. And the big thing that really, really drew me in versus like other clubs and stuff like that, because I did look at like the Freemasons, but just the charity aspect, I saw chapters like Argentina and Miami, just all that. And as I grew up, my parents were never, not for not wanting to, I'm sure, but we never went out and did charity stuff with it. And we always want to try to improve on, with our children, what our parents brought to us, and we want to improve upon it. So I'd like to, instill on my girls, this sense of charity and community and giving back. Even, I'm far from being a rich man, but giving back what we can. So that was a huge draw for me in BV. And even through COVID, we've been able to do virtual things and do things. And it's been just a great experience having my girls there with me as we've done things to give back to the community as much as we can.
Yeah, you say you go into the community and the charity aspect of things, but you started your BV journey when and where are you at with it right now?
Okay, I started my BV journey actually right around this time last year is when I started out on Instagram, kind of feeling out, trying to get. I mean, I'd seen BV, so I started kind of posting pictures and trying to reach out and find people. And the very first person that ever reached out to me was a brother from Poland. So I mean, that was incredible, and he put me in touch with scout of a different chapter that I didn't end up going with, because then Dustin, One Beer Lives Matter, reached out to me from Michigan Villains, and that's where I went. But yeah, I'm going on a year since I started trying to get into BV, and I'm at villain status now. I got my villain on August 4th or August 2nd.
Okay, awesome. That's so cool. I remember that day when you guys had some that whole week. It seemed like Michigan had a big week there, but yeah.
It was a man. We worked hard, and it was just it felt great. That's all I can say is that I'm at a loss for words at how just incredible it felt to, finally, and I mean, your brothers ultimately, but once you get that patch, that's like you're there, you're official, and that was truly an awesome moment.
Yeah, and I know you said some of your experience. You talked about you kind of came from the like emergency services side of things. Did you notice what was it that you noticed kind of a correlation between bearded villains and that brotherhood, the camaraderie, and what you see in emergency services that's similar?
The brotherhood and the family is similar. It's different because I spent years as a reserve police officer in a very, very, very bad neighborhood that's right in the heart of Detroit. So it's very different in that you have to you have a very strong brotherhood there, but you're relying on them. Literally, there are times when your life is relying on them. But in the same aspect here, I see if somebody's struggling, or even if they seem like they're struggling, I see that same brotherhood, that same camaraderie, that same, drive. Like, hey, how are you, man? How are things going? There's guys in my chapter that, like their spouses are sick, or their loved ones, moms or dads are sick, and it's just that outpouring, and it's you see it in the individual chat, but you don't even know that it's like the reaching out to them on a personal level. It's just that huge, like, almost say like a blanket of brotherhood, like people reaching out to and just being there for you. It's just this great thing.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by people that had a similar background to what I did in emergency services, and as I can say that as a former law enforcement officer for 20 years, I can say there's similarities, but there's a few really, really big differences in the brotherhood of BV. And one of the things that I absolutely love about it is there's no where, even though we have a supporter status and we have a hopeful status, and that's kind of your time where it's more or less not your prove it time, it's your acclimation to what BV is. And so, whereas that first 5 years that you're an officer, they say, shut up, sit down, and just do your job for 5 years. You don't have an opinion for the first 5 years, And there's a lot of prove it to it. But this, you're welcomed in day one. Day one is a hopeful, and it's not just you, it's your family. And you've made that commitment. And when you make that choice, you make that commitment, you're welcomed with open arms right away from day one. And I love that about BV.
Yeah, and with Michigan, it was even before I hit that hopeful status as a supporter from day one. I went to my very first meet, was our 4-year anniversary right after they had done Slip Out America. And, day one, I walk in, I don't know any of the guys, but my scout, Dustin, walks up. He's like, hey, big sexy, and smacks my ass. It's just like right away, it's like, all right, I'm in the right spot, not for the ass smacking, but maybe, but but okay. Right away you get that, you just get that brotherhood that, like, yeah, I'm welcome. It's not like there's no awkwardness. It's just like it's a nice, easy, simple transition. And that was not even I mean, as a supporter, but that was my very first thing meeting anybody. So it's like supporter, but like almost not a supporter, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, talk taking that aspect of it, the family thing, and then how you're kind of brought in right away and you're just treated as an equal. Talk to me for a second about your experience with what it was like in noticing the different avenues of life that other guys that you meet along this journey are at, because that's one of the greatest things I think about this brotherhood is we all come from such different walks of life, and people that you would never have normally met or associated with become your brothers for life through this. And what have your experiences been with that?
One of the coolest things that I tell everybody, like I'm sure my friends and family are sick of me talking about it because I love this. I love it so much. But there's a brother from I keep forgetting it's either Nigeria or Ethiopia, and I apologize to him if I get it wrong. I would never, without this club, I would have never made contact with this guy. But yet here we go. Here we are. We shoot the shit a couple times a couple times a week, couple times a month. He just had a new baby. Without BV, I would have never had an opportunity to meet or chat with somebody like that. I've shot the shit with my very first person that reached out to me from Poland. That's my ancestry is Polish. So I mean, it's cool to talk to people from where your family originally came from, or there's I haven't talked to him much, but I've reached out and talked to somebody from Iran. Again, something that I would have never done without this club, and it's just amazing to see all walks of life, all aspects of life, and it's just your brothers. You're always greeted with "Hey, brother," and it's just it's hard to describe. I mean, really, it's just such an incredible thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have several of those examples like you have. And it's, one of my most recent examples of that is getting to know and talk to our brothers from Lebanon after that explosion that happened there, and spending, several phone calls on the phone and talking to them and talking, about what's happening over there, and texting with them nonstop about how things are going. And, to a naked eye, to see this guy and, to see what these guys have gone through, you'd think it's just across the street, but to realize it's halfway around the world. And, it just brings everything home, and it makes things so much more human, and makes us realize we are all in this together regardless.
Exactly. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't even know there was a chapter in Lebanon until I started seeing the support BV Mass, and I'm like, holy crap! We got brothers here. What can we do to help them? Like I said, it flabbergasts me a lot to just see the reach of this club, and just the fact that on any day, at any time, you can reach out to any one of them, and you're not going to get reached. You're not going to get hit with a cold shoulder. It's going to be an open. You can, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, like I reached out to. I'm trying to become a scout for my chapter. I reached out to one of your guests, Sudi, I believe.
Oh, Sudi, yeah.
Yeah, because you had spoke so highly of him and described how he had gone through such things about scouting and helping other chapters build. I was like, well, if you want to be the best, you got to learn from the best. So I reached out to him. Hey, what do you do? How do you do this? And to ask for tips. And it's this great thing with zero hesitation. He's like, here's a message. Here you go. Here's what I do.
Yeah, it's
so it's cool.
And the ability for some of these guys to travel the world is just crazy stunning. We have brothers that just, they're known for that. They're known for being able to travel the world on behalf of basically their life. It's like the Travel Channel, and they go to as many BV events around the world as they can. But, here I am, I don't even have a passport. And so I laugh about that because I'm like, well, where are you going? Well, next week I'm going to be in, over in the UK, and I hope to be there for a few weeks. And then, I might be going up to some other part of Europe, and then I'm going to be, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. But how cool is that we can connect and, I'm sure that's something you found out pretty quickly right away.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And like you said, you don't even have a passport. I don't have a passport, and yet I can reach out to somebody halfway around the world and talk to them. And I got brothers all across the world. I mean, especially like I said, the first person that reached out to me was from Poland. I told him, hey, it's my life's dream to go to Poland, and try to trace back my ancestry. And he's like, you got an open door if you ever come here. And it's just it's crazy to think about, just how you go from a world that's so closed and tiny into the U.S. to now you're in this brotherhood, and it's open and it's huge. And I want to do a lot of traveling with my wife, and like Ireland and Paris and stuff like that. And it's like now it's like when we go there, we can go just as simple as hitting up one of the brothers. Hey, what? That's more than just the simple tourist trap. So even if you want to see the tourist trap, what's the best way to see this, from an insider's perspective? Or hey, let's hit up a local bar that of that's not going to be all touristy and local and cool.
Yeah. And one of the stories that I love to hear, and it seems like we hear this a lot from a lot of different people,
Mhm.
is that you may have family members that are traveling around the world or traveling around the country, and something happens. Somebody needs their hand out. Somebody needs to reach out. They're stuck on the side of the road, or they're having car problems in this city or something like that. And you can reach out to somebody, a bearded villain that's relatively close by, to say, hey, do you have anybody in this area that might be able to help them out? And you hear stories like that all the time, that our communication is such that we're able to do that for other family members, friends, loved ones within the BV community. And I think that's one of the it's just one of the biggest things that we have.
Yeah, like Ryan Van Pelt from Canada. When COVID first came around, and he was on that 3-month stretch where he was not even close to home. Brothers from all over the place. As far as I know, brothers from all over the place were like, dude, we'll take care of you. You know what I mean? You need some food, we got you. I know I told him when he came to Michigan, hey, my wife and I would cook for you. Unfortunately, he came at a time when, we weren't able to, and it made me feel like garbage. So, Ryan, if you're watching now or later, I owe you dinner. But just, that brotherhood's like, hey, he's on the road. And so it's like, we're going to take care of you. You're a brother. The same thing. Anybody comes through, it's like, I get a message in the Michigan chat that, hey, we got a brother from out of state. Let's take care of him. And it's just crazy because I know it's not just us that are doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Just the first time I got to meet you, it was a situation where I was just going to have the guys that are up here in the northern Indiana area just come over, hang out for an afternoon at my house, throw some burgers, dogs on the grill or something like that. And it ended up becoming like, I was like talking with somebody else. I was like, hey, you're not too far away. Yeah, swing by, come on. And the next day I got a message saying, hey, there might be like 7 of us coming down from Michigan. And I was like, hey, the more the merrier.
We just crashed your house.
And it was great. I had a couple days notice, and it was so cool because I had met only one of the guys that came, and only once, and for a very short time, and to welcome you guys at the house, and we just get to hang out and talk. And one of the neatest things that I thought was so cool about that was it was my chance, because I talk to guys all over the world through this podcast, but it was my first chance not only to talk to all of you guys from Michigan, but also to find out that your chapter has kind of had a resurgence, a rebirth of energy and youth through the group of your guys that came in at the same time you did. And you guys are pushing through some things and doing some things now that I'm actually seeing. And I don't think the first year or so that I was around, I didn't really hear a whole lot. I mean, from BV Michigan, but that may have been my own fault, but it's the last 6-8 months to a year, I'm starting to see some things, hear some things, and it's so cool to see. And I think part of that is due to some leadership, but it's also due to the new guys that are coming in.
Yeah, I mean, myself, Mulaney, One Feather, we're three of the new guys, and we just charity's big with all 3 of us, and we just we try to hustle, we try to make it happen. I speak for myself and Mulaney, definitely. Charity is huge. I talk to the guy all the time, and it's like, what can we do? How can we help? Even with COVID, it being frustrating, we tried to do a suicide walk. Well, I can't say try. We did do a suicide awareness walk. We had the nice patches that he had made.
Yeah.
And even with COVID and the big main event that we were going to be walking with getting canceled, we still got together, a group of us, and we still made something happen. It unfortunately wasn't the greatest. It didn't come out the greatest, but we still made it happen.
Yeah.
We still did what we could. We still talked to anybody that stopped and talked to us and asked us, who we were, what we were doing. So yeah, we're striving to try to make things, change things, make things good, make things, like I said, I love the charity aspect of it. And, I'm not the only one. Everybody's in it for their own reasons and, what they like. But for me, charity is big. And so that's what, I like to push. I like to push charity. I like to try to get back and make better.
Yeah. It's one of the things that as I've been around, and talking to the guys from different chapters, one of the biggest things that I've talked to some guys off camera, just in regular conversations outside of the podcast. And, you hear things come out of guys' mouths like, well, it really wasn't that big a deal. We really didn't do that much of something. And we didn't, and I'm always really quick to just jump on that and say, no. Don't even, we have so many examples of, chapters or just individual brothers. If a whole chapter can't do something, individual brothers or a small group of brothers, if you're affecting one life, and that's something I've been preaching about from day one with this thing, is that if you are affecting one life in a positive way, it doesn't have to be financially. It could be simply as putting a smile on somebody's face and making their day. But when you do the charity aspects of things, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be something small. We love the huge things. Those are the newsmakers, as we found out this weekend. But it doesn't matter.
That was awesome.
It doesn't matter, how small of an organization you're trying to help. If it's one person, it doesn't matter. And so we just need to remind ourselves, remind our chapters that it doesn't have to be some earth-shattering record that we're trying to set, as long as we're out there trying to change lives, make things better for somebody, and it only has to be one person, and then we've succeeded.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, with the suicide walk, it may not have been the biggest, but yeah, we stopped in and we talked to people. We told them what we were there for, and explained the patches, explained the shirts that he had made, and we still had a good time with it.
Yeah. And what's funny is there's that patch too that Melanie had made up. I've heard people talk about, I really want to get one of those patches because it means something to me. And that can be something too, very simple, that it's transformative in somebody's life in some way, shape, or form, some action that we're doing. And so I love that part of what BV has done for me. And it's reminded me, because too often I think we're quick to jump to that conclusion of, well, we really haven't done much. We haven't really, we only did this one little thing. And this chapter over here is doing this thing and raising, and a perfect example would be this weekend. Not everybody's going to raise that kind of money in one event, but that doesn't make everybody else's, achievements and everybody else's successes any less in their own right. So, whereas we celebrate those, we also need to make sure we're celebrating what the other chapters are doing out there as well. So everybody that is watching, I will say this, make sure you are telling me when you are doing something charity related. Absolutely. It doesn't matter how big or small you think it is. The greatest thing that I've learned in this podcast, and it's one of the things that has touched me the most through the words from somebody else coming through, is that I was reached out to and told that something that somebody heard about on this podcast, they said, I want to try and do that same thing. And they were able to incorporate that in their local area and do a similar event to what they heard of. And it was a very small event, but they heard about it somewhere else. Here on the podcast, and they made it happen somewhere else to affect some other lives. And so if I'm accomplishing anything through this podcast, that's one of the things I want to push people to remember is that you never know whose ripples you're creating and whose lives you're changing. And it could be just hearing word of mouth. So
and on that, you had spoke about about a charity in regards to sex trafficking. And I know here in Michigan, having worked inside of the law enforcement field, even as a dispatcher, Michigan is horrible, horrible, horrible for sex trafficking. The department I worked for had a sting in which we, recovered. Well, I say recovered, but rescued 40 women that were being, in the sex slaves. And you had talked about an organization you worked with down there, and I'm like, you know what? I've heard so much how bad Michigan is. I was like, I wonder what we can do here. And I looked up, and sure as crap, there's all kinds of stuff here, and we haven't done it yet, and it's something that's been on the back of my mind that we need to bring up and start doing. But your podcast gave me that idea that, like, you know what, you're right. This is something that I personally know is a huge thing that's affecting my area, and we can do something positive for it.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't even have to be raising tons and tons of money. It can just be raising awareness for it. That's one of those topics that, number one, people don't want to talk about, even if they know about it. It's cringeworthy. Yeah. They don't want to talk about it. They would rather it be somewhere else, and they just out of sight, out of mind, and they never want to deal with it. But bringing it to the forefront and making people say, "Hey, this is an issue here. We need to address it." Even if it's just simply talking about it and bringing it up and saying, "We're here to support them in any way, shape we can." We're here for them. It doesn't have to, because there's so many great causes out there, so many great charities out there. We can't help them all, but at the very least, we can talk about it and bring them up.
Exactly.
Well, we had a weekend, man.
Oh, this weekend was incredible. Incredible. I mean, there are things that I wish I'd done different. I drove up the day of the event, so I was tired and I didn't get to mingle as much as I would have liked to, because I mean, driving 8 hours up and then going to the event afterwards, you're feeling it,
Oh yeah.
But man, oh man, just the amount of people and the amount of brothers, it was unreal. And at that photo shoot, like, we parked and then we're walking down the street into a sea of BV, and it was just like, wow, like, breathtaking. And plus, I'm the type of guy, I like the scenery type stuff too. So we're walking down the street, and there's a lot of the trees right there, and some of them are starting to change color, and I'm getting my little girly side out right there. But it was nice, walking down the street and all those guys, and then the nice background. It's like, all right, these are gonna make some cool pictures.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it did too. Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Well, going into it, what can you think back for a second? Going into it, what you expected versus what you found when you got there?
I didn't know what to expect. I kind of went down there expecting almost like a local chapter type meet, where there's going to be more people than a local chapter, but what I expected was nowhere near what I got. I mean, when there's I don't know the exact number, but I know there was in the 90s on people in the beard competition. That's just beards alone. Plus, I could say my girls too that competed, and the women that competed in the Royce Arena. But in the 90s, for people that are just there to compete, plus not even the number. Oh, it was a sight to see for anybody that's never been to one of these. Oh my gosh. Like, I can't even, after being there, I can't even fathom what Worlds is going to be like. Yeah. Like, it's just, I can't wait. Now I'm picking COVID for taking Worlds from me.
Yeah.
We'll take the Worlds from all of us. Let me not just put it on me here.
Absolutely. But now you have a little bit of experience. And one of the things that, that I can speak to from my experience going to my first big meet, multi-chapter meet, is that you realize very quickly there's a handful of little things that you wish you did differently, like you said.
Oh yeah.
And so you can prepare for that better next time to make the next trip a little bit better. So there's usually like, oh, didn't I get a picture with that guy? No, I didn't. Oh, great. No, I got to remember that next time. And didn't I get a picture with this? Didn't I do this? Didn't I see this? Didn't I? And so, that's one of those things that you quickly realize after going to these multi-chapter meets is, never pass up the chance. If you want to take a picture with somebody, never pass up the chance to take a picture with somebody, even if it's somebody for sure you've already taken a picture with. because,
Oh yeah.
it's just one of those things that we do when we're at these things, but too often we get so busy with things, and there's so many people at these, especially like this weekend, and you'll notice it at Worlds that there's
Mhm.
so many people there. It's overwhelming. You can't
Yeah.
you can't go over here and say hi, and here and say hi, and not feel like your attention's so divided that you're not giving somebody their due time to talk to them. But
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I
It was.
suggest always, try and hang out an extra day if you can, in your plans. But that's not always the case for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love my family. I love my girls. I brought them with me, but that's just another one of those things where it's like, you know what? Next time, I'm gonna leave the kids at home because like I said, I love my family. I love my kids. I wanted to spend time with them and enjoy this experience with them. They've never been to Indiana, so hey, this is Indiana. We want to check out some of the stuff around here too. So that takes away from the event a little bit, but it takes away from the event, but adds to myself and adds to my family. So that's nice. But you know, uh I don't know if Smoky Mountains has said anything about what they've got planned yet. So I don't want to, give any spoilers out. But when their thing comes up, the Smoky Mountain Villains, I'm planning on making the pilgrimage down there with just
Okay.
my wife, family free. With with the exception of my wife, and we're gonna really do it up and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good.
Hmm.
I've had a few events that I've taken my wife to too, and it's always fun to be able to share that part of it. And you kind of touched on that a little bit, and I want to just take a step back to that too. Is the family aspect of things.
Hmm.
What's that like to know that you can go to a BV event and bring your kids, bring your family, and it doesn't they're in no harm's way. It's someplace that you can be. It's someplace that you can be comfortable, with your kids at.
Hmm.
What's that like for you?
That was incredible. I mean, even the MC for the night. I apologize. I can't remember his name. I've got a horrible memory. But
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, thank
Yeah.
you. Even he said, "Hey, how was this tonight? Was it too too over the top, too not kid friendly?" It's like, well, I mean, a couple of things. It's like nothing that my kids haven't seen. They're a little bit older, and it's just incredible. The girls were like, "Hey, can we go run around?" Yeah, go ahead and run around. I don't feel uncomfortable with it. My my two daughters were like, "Hey, we want to go over and look at the auction table." Okay, go ahead, have fun. And just to not feel like I have to keep a watchful eye on them and I feel like they're in a safe place was just, it's a relief. Plus, the fact that they had the kids competition,
Yeah.
we planned on going down there with the girls competing. So that was just that was the icing on the cake too.
Yeah.
Letting them go up and compete and have fun was just awesome.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Absolutely. That
Mhm.
that was such a cool thing. So congrats to BVSI for doing that up, because not everybody does
Oh,
that.
thank you so much, BBSI. That was I
Yeah.
that really made my day. Seeing my girls win awards, and my youngest one, when her mouth hit her jaw hit the floor, and it just didn't drop until pictures were done, or didn't come back up until pictures. That made my whole trip, man. That was. Thank you so much to BBSI for doing that. That was just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and there's so many different competitions out there where they do the Whiskerina, but they don't do the kids. And it was a really
Yeah.
cool touch that they, take those few minutes out, let the kids have some fun, be a part of what their dads are doing and what their moms are doing.
Hmm.
Yeah. I wish every event that we go to that has a beard competition would do that, just in case if they are family friendly. But so
Yeah.
anybody out there that's doing that, please consider that for the family friendly events. Now, if it's at a bar that's adults
Oh,
only,
yeah.
obviously, then you don't need to consider that. But definitely something to consider for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So no, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying my daughter right here is trying to make a sneak into the video behind me. That's one of the things here with being live.
Yeah, you know what? That's all part of being alive, man.
Yeah.
This is live, and we're gonna have stuff like that. That's what makes it fun. So
So unfortunately, we can't edit this one out
no,
in the
we
in the
don't need
post
to.
tape.
We don't need to edit this out at all, man. This is good. This is always family friendly here. But So tell me, looking forward here now,
Mhm.
what kinds of things do you have any idea where, you know, Beer to Villains Michigan is looking to the future, as far as what you guys might have planned coming up once the COVID release, you know, might happen?
Well, I know one of the things that we're working on is there's a national cemetery here in Michigan, and twice a year they do they'll do a grave cleanup, and they'll do a wreath laying. So hopefully we can get out there for the wreath laying right around Christmas time. We went and did it last year, and I'm hoping that we can do it again this year. But like I said, you know, with COVID, it's so hard to it's hard to make any concrete plans. So we we love, you know, we've got a lot of veterans in our chapter, so doing veteran stuff is big, but like I said, it's very hard to make concrete plans when, you know, we try to make a concrete plan with an event, and then, you know, the event turns around and says, hey, you know, unfortunately we're not going to do it, we're going to go virtual, and, you know, everything kind of changes last minute.
Right.
You know, like I said, with the suicide walk, you know, it was a big planned event, and then it kind of fell through. And then we had another event planned for an MS walk in Frankenmuth, Michigan, and again, you know, it kind of fell through because, you know, it's very hard. At least the way that I see it, it's very hard to put anything concrete in stone because it's very fluid right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But are there some things that I know the roof sit event that you guys do, that's now happened twice, I think. Is that going to become an annual thing, you think?
Honestly, that's not something I can answer because I've never even heard of it.
Okay.
Like, you know, I'm still new, so, you know,
Right.
there's stuff that's happened before my time that I just don't know about. So it's
right.
hard for me to answer that because I haven't even heard of that
Sure.
event.
Sure. Understandable. I won't go crazy with the woulda, shoulda, coulda type questions on you there. But man, I'm so glad that I got you on here. It's always fun to hear a perspective, man, from somebody else, and as somebody that's, you know, experienced something like this for their first time. And you know, it's like I said, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on to talk a little bit about that.
I appreciate you dealing with my crazy ones right here behind us too.
Not a problem at all, man. Not a problem at all. So tell me, before I let you go, what, if anybody is looking for some motivation, something else to drive them if they're considering, you know, if they're watching this and they're not a bearded villain or they're a supporter, what can you tell them leading forward, and why this is the best brotherhood out there, man?
The family aspect of it is just incredible. Like I've said, I've seen, you know, there's beard clubs and there's this and that from all over the place, but BV it's more than a brotherhood. It really is a family, is what I found. You know, going back and talking about like your barbecue, you just put it up there. Hey, I'm having a barbecue, and hey, you care if a couple of us drop by? And you're like, yeah, all right. And now 7 of them are making a pilgrimage down to Casa de BP for a barbecue. You know, where else are you going to get something like that? That's just, you know, at the drop of a hat. Hey, we're coming. All right, we got you.
Yeah.
You know, you're hard pressed to find even best friends that are like that, let alone a brotherhood that's that strong and like that. It's incredible. And I know that there's going to be some guys that have frustrations coming into it right now because of Corona, and it really puts a strain on things. But enjoy what you can enjoy. It's the big thing that I can. It's the big thing I say. You know, I've had a lot of my captains and guys that have been around a long time saying, you know, this is nothing like what it usually is.
True.
You know, so I look at the small victories and the small enjoyable things that I can, thinking, you know, once we're through this, or once we're at least in a spot where we can go back to some level of normalcy, that's kind of like my light at the end of the tunnel. I'm enjoying what I can enjoy and looking forward to like just everything that it has to offer in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I love it. My honor to host you here, and my honor to get you on here and talk a little bit about what BV is to you, man.
Hey, it's a bigger honor to be on here with you, BP. I'm taking it back that you asked me, man. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, it's all good, man. I appreciate you taking some time out. Timbo Slice, if you don't already follow him on IG, get out there, follow him on IG. Tell us once again your IG handle for everybody that wasn't paying attention the first time out.
Tim_Grizz, GRIZZ, 2 Z's, because I'm double awesome.
He's double awesome. I don't know if we can do any better than that, man. All right, man. Tim, thanks so much for stopping by, and I will talk to you later, buddy.
Take care, BP.
All right, see you later. All right, guys. That is so cool. So yeah, that was Tim. He's hanging out in the green room, I think, just chilling out right now. He can hang up anytime. You can just chill out there if you want to. Yeah, this is fun, guys. And we got through there without any major hiccups. We had a little bit of a lag once or twice, and I don't know if that was internet issues on his end, my end, or whatever it was, but it didn't crash the program, so that's a good thing. I'll take that. I'll take that as a win. We'll take baby steps here. Baby steps. I don't know what would have happened if we ended up with 3 or 4 guys on simultaneously, but we'll take baby steps. Baby steps. All right. So guys, I'm going to kick it right into this little ditty here. If you are looking for an all-natural beard oil that will not only tame your beard and coarse hairs, but make your beard soft and smell amazing, check out Pulpo Beard Oils. Veteran-owned and made for today's beards, Pulpo Beard products combine the best beard ingredients on the market with incredible customer service to ensure your happiness. Whether you need beard wash, beard oil, beard balm, or some fun clothing, Pulpo is the place to go. Feel fresh, feel savage, feel confident with Pulpo Beard Oils. Go to Pulpo Beard Oils, that's Pulpo beardoils.com, and use the code The Heart of a Villain for a discount on your order. Okay. Over the course of the next several weeks, I will be bringing in a few other options for your beard care product ideas and needs. I've got a few other organizations that are going to be partnering with the Heart of a Villain podcast here in the future and giving us a discount or promo code for you to try their stuff. So that stuff will be coming out in the future for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to slide right in here real quick to our calendar of events. We don't have a whole lot going on because we've had a busy couple of weeks, but just slide right in here to it and see where we're going. October 16th and 17th is the unofficial, because it was canceled, 4th Florida Summit. As far as I know, they're still planning on hanging out with anybody that wants to come down and hang out, but officially was canceled. So the 4th Florida Summit unofficial, I guess, still out there. Hit up those guys down in Florida if they're going to be available to you. As I understand it, they still are planning on hanging out with anybody that's going to be coming into town. So that was to be the weekend of October 16th, 17th. Just hit those guys up. Have some fun down there in Florida if you can. October 24th, the Bearded Villains of Indiana have the 5th anniversary party / non-party. So here's the deal with this, guys. Because of COVID regulations in Indianapolis, the bars, it was going to be difficult to plan anything with any volume, really, to really celebrate the way we wanted to for the 5th anniversary for BVIN. So we are still doing a homeless event at 11 a.m. in Indianapolis on the 24th. If anybody would like to attend and help out with that, hit up the Bearded Villains of Indiana for further information on that. Afterwards, we're going to hang out and just kind of have like a barbecue, weather provided. If the weather's decent, we're going to have a hangout picnic type of thing. But, that's the story. So kind of uneventful, a little sad, but we're still going to rock it. And, BVIN's still going to have some fun and help out the homeless. So that's that guy. And then November 7th, the First Coast Villains have a walk. First Coast, for those of you who don't know and are not paying attention, that's Jacksonville. First Coast Villains have a walk for Purple Stride, raising funds and awareness for pancreatic cancer. You can help out even in a small way. We've talked about this, guys, here today. We talked about it. We talked about it in other podcasts podcast episodes. If you can even help out $1 or $2 in this any small way possible for pancreatic cancer, give the brothers a hit up on IG or the Facebook page. They've got links there. Hit up those guys, First Coast Villains, to help out for the Purple Stride that they have going on. And that, guys, pretty much it, sadly. I know there's some other things going on, and I have not been told of them, but I do know there's some other things going on over the next few months, some different Christmas type events, Toys for Tots types of things. So what I would like for you to do is pass the word on. If you hear about something, even if it's not your chapter, give me a shout out and let me know. I would love to be able to promote it, especially if it's something where we can, as villains, we can help accumulate items. We can accumulate funds. We can spread the word and do whatever we can to make your event and some charity event all the more successful. So please, no matter how small you think this thing is, reach out. We'll get it on here and we'll talk about it. We'll promote it here on the podcast. Absolutely. Guys, I thank you so much. Those of you who have hung out with me on this Friday night, Timbo Slice, I thank you guys. I thank you so much for hanging out, taking some time out of your busy Friday nights. You got some family, go hang out with them. Guys, that's going to do it. That's going to do it. We've had a good one. That's going to wrap up episode 52 of The Heart of a Villain. Remember, guys, you can still buy shirts, patches, pins at theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. Theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. That's where you can also find all of the previous 51 episodes of the podcast. Chill, hang out, listen to them. I want to challenge you all to be the villain that the world needs you to be, guys, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Guys, as I always say, please remember this, the most important thing of all. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. So for now, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy the week ahead. Take care and stay safe.
One, no borders. Don't get it twisted like contortionists in close quarters. My crew has more heads than peeps cleaning up on borders. When Blah, Jelly, and I, we come together, transformers. So when we meet up, handshakes, brews, and salutes. Every brother is different, fingerprints and attributes. One thing in common with the beard